Nottingham Forest 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. It's another point on the board for Wolves. But talking of board, that is probably one of the worst games of football I've seen for a long, long time, especially from a Wolverhampton Wanderers point of view. I'll get into that, obviously. If you managed to catch the game, let me know your thoughts as well. In regards to the starting lineup, to be fair, I think it's exactly how I predicted it on my match preview. It's probably the 11 that I would have gone with. That's not saying much because I think the quality that we saw, especially in the first half, was just so far off it. Wolves just didn't have a sniff in that first half whatsoever. Forest, to be fair, Wolves restricted Forest to very few clear-cut chances. I mean, in terms of the amount of shots they had on goal throughout the game, if we quickly go on the statistics now, in the first half, they had 16 shots on goal in total. Not many of them on target. I'll say that, 6 on target, but just not many to cause Jose Sa huge amounts of problems. Wolves had 2 shots, but very speculative efforts. I can remember Angel Gomez having one that went well wide and defended okay, but the quality of passing and everything as well. I think Tolu played a really poor pass. João Gomez as well, quite poor and sloppy in possession. And it was just a really poor performance by individuals. And I think everybody individually on that pitch today needed to provide more. Second half wasn't a huge amounts better, to be honest. We saw a little bit of a change at the wing-back situation in particular. Muller-Walfer and Chichua coming on to see what else we could provide down those wings. I think if we're going to play this sort of narrow system, that's where you've got to get the joy. And I just think Rodrigo Gomez can inject that, but you can still see, I just think he's a little bit off it. I don't know if it's match sharpness, I don't know if it's quality. Hugo Bueno just looks a little bit void of any confidence in terms of going forward. I think defensively he did quite well on the left-hand side, but just really struggles. Like you look at the likes of Nori, Semedo even at times could get you up the pitch and gain you 20, 30 yards. And the set of wing-backs that we've got at the moment, despite their qualities or what they can be good at, just so far off it. Even Chichua, when he came on, there was one, he gave the ball away with a really poor pass and then committed a foul, which got him booked. And then right at the death as well, it's just a suicidal header back to Jose Sa, which almost cost us as well. And, you know, if you're a player and you're wondering why you're out of the team or why you're not getting into the team, just have a look at your cameos there. And Chichua just has to watch that 10-20 minutes of last 10-20 minutes of the game to understand what he needs to improve on to get himself into this team. But I don't think anybody really covered themselves in glory throughout the 90. I know Adam Armstrong as well just really struggled to get himself in the game. I know he'll pick up stick for that. I saw him getting stick after the Chelsea game, which I thought was so difficult for anybody to get into that game from a Wolves point of view. Today as well, he had a little bit more of the ball, but just didn't show much for it. I think he's a number 9. So basically, you need the ball. He needs the ball in and around the area. There's not really much point in him coming deep, level with the midfield 3 to pick it up because he's not going to cause any damage there. Tolu, at times, there was an obvious plan. If we're under pressure, hoof it to Tolu and hopefully something can happen. His first touch sometimes, I say sometimes because there were some awful first touches, sometimes it's okay. And then because he's so big in terms of, height and structure, he's so heavy-footed, he can't pick up the second touch. So I think he was unfortunate in that. But however, he did start and was a big part of our best chance of the game right at the death. And this would have been an unbelievable way to win the football match, considering how bad Wolves were throughout the 90. Ball comes through in a really tidy flick. I think João Gomez plays the ball back to Tolu. He's got Jackson Chichua to his right. He whips it across to the left, where I think he's got Jean-Ric the Bellegarde and Mane. And Mane, unfortunately, fires it. He's on his weaker side, but he fires it straight at Ortega in goal for Forest, who was only forced into 2 really decent saves, and there were both off shots from Matheus Mane, who again looks lively. I think his decision making still has to improve. That's just going to come with time and experience. He still worked his socks off throughout the game, but you could just tell towards the end of the game that Wolves looked really leggy. They wanted something out of the game, whether it's a point. I don't think you intentionally go out to a football match and say, right, we're going to draw this game 0-0. I wanted at times Wolves to put their foot on the gas a little bit more and trouble Forest. But we were quite fortunate that in front of goal they were really poor. We frustrated them. We made them run out of ideas really towards the end of the game. But then you look at their set pieces and the quality of their set pieces was really poor. But so was Wolves. There was once in the first half we have a set piece in our own half. Jose Sarr takes it, which is fine with me. You get your bodies forward, but Wolves lose it. And it's a 5-on-1 situation. 5 Forest players against 1 Wolves defender. We are so lucky that they were poor in front of goal today. On another day, that Nottingham Forest side could have easily beaten Wolves 2-3, 4-0. The lack of bite is worrying, but the fact is now, we're probably going to have to go to every game almost with that mentality, especially away from home. And it's so painful. You look at the bench as well, and no disrespect to the young lads on the bench. You know, there's not a lot of quality on there. Maybe one of them can have an opportunity sooner rather than later and stand out and pick up some form, similar to how Mateus Mane has done. And we just look towards Sunday now, a game against Grimsby, a little bit of a changing environment, changing quality. Hopefully, similar to the Shrewsbury game, we can sort of allow ourselves to get a bounce back in our step. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, to be fair. Just a little bit of a change. But tonight was definitely a game to forget, especially if you didn't fall asleep during it. If you're a neutral and for whatever reason you paid to watch that game, I'd maybe demand your money back. As always, guys, let me know your thoughts on the performance overall. Hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next one.